Let me take you back for a moment. The late 1960s in Nigeria was a very dark time. Coups, counter coups, killings, massacre, war, starvation, and then more death, right? And if you're being honest, Ndi Igbo felt the weight of it the most. Because while the war was happening, a large part of Nigeria did not experience it the same way. Over the years, we've heard different versions of that war. Most Igbo parents told the story from a place of pain. And that's understandable, right? That's understandable. Writers have also told their own versions. I remember reading There Was a Country by Chinua Achebe. And honestly, the way he wrote that book, it didn't feel like I was reading it. It felt like you were there. It felt like you were watching everything unfold in real time. That's how I experienced that book, right? That's how powerful his writing was. And one thing I respected the most about that book was this. He didn't try to force a conclusion on you. He laid it out and left you to think. But as I've grown older, I've started asking more questions, difficult questions, uncomfortable questions. And for example, if the goal was secession by Ojukwu, why was Ojukwu advancing towards Lagos? But that's a whole different conversation for a different day. But here we are today in 2026. And the truth is this, right? The pain is still there on both sides, not just on the Biafran side. Now, let me say something that might not sit well with everybody. I blame the Nigerian government, but I also blame us in Ndi Igbo. Let's start with the government, right? Let's start with the government. Nigeria did not do a good job with the reintegration after the war. In fact, it sometimes felt like the country just tried to move on, as if nothing happened. No proper acknowledgement, no national reflection, no real memorial culture. We don't even have a proper day to remember the Nigerian soldiers who died, Biafran soldiers who died, civilians who suffered. That alone is failure. But now let's talk about us, Ndi Igbo, because this part is very important as well. For a long time, we've blamed everybody else. We've called Fulani this, we've called Yoruba that, we've even labeled fellow Igbo people as saboteurs, just for having a different opinion. But my question is simple. After everything, what have we actually learned? What did we learn from that war? Did we learn that you cannot fight a government militarily and win? Did we learn the importance of food security, local production, economic independence? Because if we did, why are we still struggling with those same things today? At a point in time, the Southeast economy was so strong, stronger than some countries that are now, doing very well today, right? But look at us now. Many of our young people, they finish school and the first thing they want to do is to leave the Southeast. They want to leave to Lagos. They want to leave to Abuja. They want to leave to Port Harcourt. Anywhere but the Southeast. Then it came the new wave of Uwazuruike and later Nnamdi Kanu. And during Uwazuruike's time with Masop, there was a call for Igbos to boycott the national census. And many people followed it. But think about it. Every government plans based on population, right? So while other regions we are being counted, we reduced our own numbers on paper. How does that make sense? And that decision alone, it had consequences, economic consequences, political consequences. Then Nnamdi Kanu came with the sit-at-home orders and the creation of ESN. Now let's be honest again, right? The sit-at-home affected us more than anyone else. Businesses were shut down. People lost money. Productivity dropped. And with insecurity rising, investors stayed away. Even people in diaspora who used to come home during festive periods like Christmas and spend money, support local economies, many of them stopped coming. That's capital flight, right? That's what capital flight means. And that, it hurts. Anyhow you want to think about it. So I ask again, what exactly has Biafra achieved for Ndi Igbo today? And more importantly, what lessons have we learned? I've heard people say things like, for Biafra to come, we must have a collateral damage. And honestly, that mindset is very dangerous because the damage is not happening somewhere else. It's happening here in Igbo land. It's crazy. On our land, our people. There's a popular phrase in Igbo, Ozoemena, meaning may it not happen again. May another one never happen. That phrase has become it became powerful after the war because everything people went through at the time. But sometimes I wonder, do we really believe in Ozoemena? Because at the end of the day, I believe two things can be true at the same time, right? The Nigerian government can do better, and Ndi Igbo can also do better. Because growth starts with reflection, and reflection requires honesty. And maybe, that's the conversation we need to start having. Anyway, listen, if you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to like, share, subscribe, turn on the notification bell. And until next time, my name is Kachi, and this is the Beer Parlour Podcast. Peace.